If you're a longtime viewer of the channel, you know that I love ABCs, and it was kind of saddening to see Union Carrier go on the last ban list. I think at this point we should expect a hit to ABC at least once a year, but we persevere, and after a month of not really knowing what I'm doing with the deck, I think I have something now. For the sake of not retreading what I've already done in previous videos, I'm just gonna have the entire deck splayed out here. Still running the 2-3-2 ratios on the basic ABC parts and one Union driver. I see a lot of people switching over to 2 Union drivers, but I think this hurts the consistency of the deck way too much. And I'm still running the Galaxy package, even though Orbital is no longer in the deck. I sort of replaced that with Upstart Goblin for consistency with a 39 card deck. Speaking of consistency, I am running 3 Prosperity. Prosperity is part of the reason why I am still bothering with the Galaxy package. You can either dig for Galaxy Soldier, or if you don't draw into it, Union Hanger, and other cards like Pseudo Space or one of the trap cards, which I'll get into later. The chances of needing the entire extra deck is extremely low, and some of the cards are there just for very niche scenarios. And we're going to astro project back to 2016 with Transmodify. If you don't draw into Galaxy Soldier, but you have a piece on board and a piece in hand, you can use Transmodify on B-Buster Drake, for example, add another part, and summon Galaxy Soldier, and search out the other soldier as well. I had originally moved Call by the Grave out after the December ban list, but I put it back in after I took out Photon Orbital and Photon Thrasher after the March ban list. Without Carrier, neither Thrasher or Orbital were really doing much, so I took them out. I could technically use something like Solar Windjammer to help out the Galaxy package and to go into more Link plays, but it really wasn't helping the deck out a whole lot. It wasn't really doing much, so I decided against that. If you've seen my History of Unions video, you may have noticed that I was running 3 Strikes and 3 Ice Dragon's Prison at the end of that video. If you haven't seen that video yet, go watch it. I'll link it at the end of the video. But I have since reduced them to 2 and 2, and I've included Summon Limit. Think about it. How many times does ABC really summon after the first turn? Maybe 2 or 3 at most. After my first turn, I am set up with an IP Masquerena and an ABC Dragon Buster, and maybe even Cyber Dragon Infinity. And then after that, during my turn, I'm summoning maybe once or twice. And if I really need to get rid of Summon Limit for whatever reason, I can always banish it with Dragon Buster. Lastly, I've moved Ash Blossom to the side deck, and I've cut Impermanence entirely, and I've put in Drone Lockbird and Artifact Lancia into the main deck. Drone Lockbird just does a whole lot more in this current meta, and that's the same reason why I'm maining Artifact Lancia as well. And the extra deck has stayed largely the same as well. I think in a previous video I said I wasn't too fond of the Nightmare package, but I have since changed my mind about that, since you can plus pretty hard off the Nightmare package if you do the chains correctly. And for the Union Carrier ban, I decided to go back to Platinum Gadget. The reason why I've gone back to Platinum Gadget is because if I don't have all my pieces on the graveyard yet, I can just summon the last piece with Platinum Gadget and go to AC Dragon Buster, guaranteeing my plays. Or if I have a really particular hand, I can end on Platinum Gadget and IP Masquerena. Now, Platinum Gadget doesn't come up super often, but it's helpful for when it does. I've never really been a fan of Claire Narushka, but I think she's also necessary, all things considered. And to close out the extra deck, I have replaced Borreload Dragon with Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. See, not only does she out-dragoon, but you can also use IP Masquerena on your opponent's turn and use one of your opponent's monsters to go into Underworld Goddess. And the side deck has stayed relatively the same too. I've just moved Forbidden Droplets from main deck to the side deck, and Ash Blossom as well, as I mentioned earlier. So even with Union Carrier banned, the IO combo is mostly the same, only when we are at this part is when things start to get a little bit different. So, instead of going the Union Carrier for obvious reasons, we would link those two off for IP Masquerena. And chain link 1, chain link 2, add that back, and add in C. Quasi soldier will discard, add the other soldier, discard, soldier, Xyz, Nova, Infinity, and we just won't slurp up IP because we're going to need that for later. Banish those for ABC Dragon Buster so that we can use IP on my opponent's turn after we banish a thing. So yeah, I'm just going to leave IP on the board so that we can use it as link material later. I'm not super concerned with Mega Fleet since Cyber Dragon. I haven't seen Cyber Dragon for a hot minute, at least at the local level. I'll fight Cyber Dragon every now and again, and that's when it becomes kind of spooky to have this board. But for the most part, it's not a big deal. At this point, I'm more scared of Dragon Buster being kaiju than anything else. If you're familiar with how I format these kinds of videos, you should subscribe to the channel for one, if you're not already. But for two, this is kind of the point in the video where I do a whole bunch of test hands after I do the demo combo, just to show you what kind of boards the deck can make outside of that little control situation. But the combo has stayed largely the same, so I'm not going to retread what I've already done in previous videos. Instead, do a whole bunch of commentated replays for you. So I'm going to preface this by saying a lot of the decks that I fought in rated singles were quite random. You're going to see what I mean in a bit. So I'm going first, since I won rock, paper, scissors. The duel begins. So we draw into Ice Dragon's Prison, Pot of Prosperity, B, Lancia, and Galaxy Soldier. So we activate Prosperity, and we banish the Mechaba, and we also banish Klarushka and Nightmare Unicorn. My opponent is going to let that go through. And we mill Ice Dragon's Prison, and add in Ice Dragon's Prison. We should have added in Droll, but we didn't. But we put those big back at the bottom. We set the 2, Ice Dragon's Prison, and we set B into defense because we can't really do much of anything else. So my opponent draws, return, stand by main. And my opponent does something very interesting. He puts 1 defense, sets 1, T-sets, pass turn. So I flip up B Buster Drake, and go to battle phase, attack. And for whatever reason, I thought I only took 200, but I take 500 based math. So my opponent draws, and again, he sets 1 and passes turn. We draw into Drone Lockbird. We tribute for Galaxy Soldier, because at this point, we just need to do something. So we do B effect to add an A. And then we use Galaxy Soldier, discard the A, special summon, and we add in the third and final Galaxy Soldier, Xyz, Infinity, Nova, and then Infinity. My apologies. Then we attack, swing over the Bixie. And the Bixie is going to summon the Bane. I could have negated it, but I decided we wanted to do Ice Dragon's Prison to summon and banish the Bixie and the Bean. Or Bean? I don't know. So my opponent sets a defense, sets the back row, passes turn. We draw the set rotation. Nice. We then go into Unit Hanger, and then pseudo space for my opponent. Activate Unit Hanger, add in the C, Crush Wyvern, because we already have Being Grave. Normal summon, target, and then we're going to equip Union Driver. Union Driver effect, banish itself to equip the B, and we summon it from the Spell Trap card zone. We link the 2 off. for Nightmare Phoenix. And then we do chain link 1B, chain 2 Nightmare. And we target the back row, which is the 9 Pillars of the Yang Zings, which my opponent could have activated, but they didn't. Oof. And that's the end of that duel. I really don't know why my opponent didn't activate any of these. Because of the Mystical Space Typhoon and 9 Pillars of the Yang Zings. But it got us there. That last part was definitely a lot more experimental. Now it's actually a video suggestion a while back ago, but I never was sure how to really present it. So if you want to see more commentated replays just like that, let me know down below, along with any other video suggestions you may have, and subscribe to the channel if you like what you're seeing. My name is Brent, and I am Maxed Out Weird, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.